What's up, everybody? You know what we're here for today is this book. As you can see, if anybody's interested in buying the book, you can go to Barnes and Nobles, and it is already discounted. Sorry, it's already discounted. In all seriousness, I definitely wanted to check this book out because I kind of made fun of Porsha a little bit, and I wanted to see if there were things in it that I could relate to. So realistically, she's saying that it's sold out in certain places. We now know that it's not. My Barnes and Nobles had 2 copies and I bought one. So I'm pretty sure you guys can go out and get it too. If you're a Porsha fan, don't dislike my video or troll me because this is probably about to get messy real quick. I'm gonna bring up my 2 guests. You guys probably know them. Miss Freckles and Gabor. What's up?
Hey.
What's good?
So, did y'all buy the book?
No.
Never planned on it.
So we're gonna do the first couple chapters today. I thought it would be pretty cool to have Freckles on, just because she seems really kind and understanding, and me and Gabor are messy. So
No, you messy. I'm not messy.
You're messier.
Okay.
So, do you guys have any preconceived notions before we start?
I'm thinking that it's well, I can't say because I have preconceived notions because of what you told me. So I'm just gonna what you got out of the first couple chapters. So
Gabor?
I feel like it's gonna be a bunch of lies.
oh my.
Okay. That's possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be reading certain excerpts. I'm not gonna read the whole book, of course. I'm gonna read some things that I felt were impactful, and if Gabor or Freckles feels like they want to stop, or something that Porsha said spoke to them or whatever, just stop me.
Okay,
But I'm
can I
gonna
ask
be
you a question
stopping.
real quick before we get started?
Sure.
Was the book $3? I see the $3 sign on the top of the book. Was it only $3?
No,
Was
it was already discounted $3.
Oh wow.
$3 off.
Okay.
But it's not an expensive book. It's also, not a long book.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely double spaced.
Mm.
It's not. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was $3 off. I think you can get it at Barnes and Nobles for like 21, 22, or if you want it to get it on Amazon, I think it's like 17. So if anybody is a Porsha fan, I definitely, this is not a paid advertisement, but go pick up her book and show some support.
So is this book gonna be like The Confessions of a Video Vixen by Corinne Stephans?
It
you
might
read that book
be.
before.
I did read the book before. There might be some similarities.
Okay.
Oh wow.
But let's just start here. So my journey to get the Pursuit of Porsha started at Barnes and Nobles. And when I asked for help finding it, nobody knew where it was. And then surprisingly, we went to the religious self-help section. Christian living.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know you lying.
Do you see the picture?
Oh my God. Yeah,
You put that there.
You
did.
There.
No, this was the picture from Barnes and Nobles.
But you put it there.
With Video Vixen right there?
Yeah.
There's no way.
You make me so sick. You make me so
Okay, but no, Corinne's was not there. I brought this. But Porsha's was in the Christian living section of Barnes and Noble.
Oh, that's interesting.
Gabor?
What? Ain't nothing Christian about it. Ain't nothing religious. Well, I think that people do say "ho is life," so I guess that could be sort of religious.
So, okay, it starts off with "To my lifesaver, PJ, mommy's tears will never be your fears. Love you forever." A note from the author. To protect the privacy of my loved ones and other people whom I've met, I would rather forget. Some names have been changed, others have been erased.
Oh.
Surprisingly, R. Kelly's was not.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
She had to leave that in there, huh?
No, you're supposed to be the nice one. So
I
Freckles, I'm
mean,
gonna need you to play your
okay,
role.
got you.
I'm just playing.
I
You
stepped
can
out of
be as
character.
you can be as shady and messy as you want.
But why do you think she
Um,
did that? To give it some more juice, get some more attention, more people to buy the books, or
to sell the book.
okay,
When you like put everything else out on reality television, what else you got?
right? That's
So,
true.
hey, Amused. Hey, Miriam, 2%. Shrinking Sharon. Evangelist. Thank you guys for being here. Little known fact, Precious Pisces 69 was my 900th subscriber. And she told me if she doesn't get some type of prize, she's unsubscribing. We got, oh, hey, Judgy Justice. Good seeing you. Marcella, my girl Cotty, Trey. Are y'all ready to be messy? I'm ready to be messy. Okay, so some of what I'm about to share will be tough to hear. It was even tougher to write. That's why it took me years to do it. Although I knew God wanted me to bring voice to my story and my testimony, I avoided writing a book for a long time because any good book is your truth on paper. It's laying yourself bare and having to face yourself, your failures, and even your fears.
Mm.
But the way I have been blessed, I believe it is my duty to tell the stories as a testimony for other young girls and women. I went from being homeless while starring on The Real Housewives to owning 2 successful businesses. Not to mention, I'm co-hosting the nationally syndicated talk show Dish Nation and Bravo's new late night talk show Chat Room, while also making headway into scripted television.
Oh my God. Now see, I don't like that. I don't like that already. You went
What
from
don't you
being
like?
homeless. She said that she was homeless. That's what I'm saying. That's not true. Cordell put you out and you moved in with your mama. You know what I'm saying? You were
And
never homeless.
she also owned a supposed penthouse. That comes later in the book. That Cordell paid
But
for
to
while they were
but to say
married.
that you were homeless that's not the truth.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Freckles.
Um, well, when I was a substitute teacher, the definition of homeless in the city I worked at
Mm-hmm.
was if you didn't have the family didn't have their own place and you had to, like, if you were couch surfing or something like that. So I don't know. I guess the semantics of homeless, it
Mm-hmm.
depends. Now, if you're thinking out on the street, obviously she wasn't homeless. And when you read that, I'm thinking, like, homeless? How is she homeless?
Making $400,000-$500,000 a
Right.
year.
That's interesting. I guess that's to make it more dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
That come up, I've broken so far down and I've come this far, so I'm going to share my journey.
Just like saying she's an activist. It's the
Hmm.
same thing, you know.
I'm with you. That's why I chose that. That's why I chose that excerpt. Okay. At the time, I was living with my mom, whom everyone else called Miss Diane, during the week, and visited my dad, Hosea, on the weekends. My parents had split by the time I was 2 or 3 years old. In
Mm.
my room, though, with its bay windows and vaulted ceilings, I felt like I had created my own safe haven. It felt like the only place where I could dream a little bit bigger than those white walls. It felt like the only place where I felt comfortable to speak for more of myself and see more for myself rather than the flat chested, skinny, big eyed stick, hateful words I had heard the other kids call me at school that I somehow believed to be true. I wanted to be more than the girl the other kids called ugly, the one they all called lame.
Hmm.
So to me, Freckles, I might be wrong. She's trying to establish that she was well off. She had bay windows and vaulted
Vaulted
ceilings. Like to
ceilings.
me, that's like a running theme in this book where she's trying to let you know like her pedigree.
That's interesting. That's because, that stood out to me too. I'm like, if you're talking about your safe haven, the describing words are bay windows and vaulted ceilings. That's interesting that that's a choice of describing her safe place, because it sounds like, right, she was bullied, so her room was a place where she felt comfortable, she felt safe, and you describe that place as, that's interesting. I'll just say that.
I'm sorry. So really quickly, I realized I don't do this enough, and I don't even think my bestie does it. Guys, I'm gonna be starting to put out more videos. So if you could not only subscribe, but hit the notification button, because a lot of people are saying they're not getting the notifications when I go live. It would definitely be appreciated. You guys know I have a goal of getting monetized by the end of the year. I'm very close. So yeah, before we leave, we'll also talk about a little bit of Selling Tampa, because me and Gabor are reviewing that. So you're not required to, but if you want to, you are always more than welcome to hit my Cash App. It's there. Okay. So while other kids hung out with one another, played sports, or tore up the playground, I spent a lot of my time in my room. I'd even tie a scarf around the doorknob just to be sure no one would unexpectedly come in and ruin my introverted fun. It would be full-blown bliss. When I wasn't chilling in my bedroom, I was running around with my older brother, Hosea, who was named after my dad and his dad. Believe it or not, I was a tomboy who wanted to run around the neighborhood until the streetlights came on instead of playing inside with my dolls. That's a little weird to me, because she just said that her safe haven was her bedroom, and that's where she wanted to spend most of her time. But now she's saying she really preferred to be outside. Is that weird?
I mean, you could look at it as weird though, but some people have things that they'd like to be doing, but for whatever reason, they don't have the comfort level. It may be, I don't know, maybe it could have been because of people that called her the bug-eyed stick figure, whatever she said, that she wanted to be out there running around, but she didn't feel safe enough to because of the bullying, or maybe she forgot what she wrote in the previous paragraphs. I don't know.
But
It
that's
could be either one.
That's if she wrote it, Freckles. I'm still not convinced.
Mm. Oh my goodness. Like she was educating somebody.
That's what she was giving me. Okay. So Hosea was only 2 years older than me, but instead of the natural sibling rivalry, I was obsessed with my big brother. Our entire family was. At my mama's house, Hosea was her most treasured son, and at my father's house, he seemed to rule over everything. There was something about Hosea. He had this ability to be exactly who he was every second of the day. I was not only enamored with him, but also inspired by him. No one has ever known of the deep sadness that seems to linger in the air around me, because on the outside, I act completely opposite to how I'm feeling, by choice or for survival. At times, even I can't tell. But people think my life is so poppin' that I always have people to talk to and have friends to turn to. But that's not ever been my case, ever. Even though I considered her my best friend, I couldn't tell my mom all the thoughts running through my head. I couldn't tell my mom that I held a bottle of pills, thinking about swallowing all of them, but decided against it because I feared I'd be brain dead, and I definitely didn't want to be that. I couldn't tell her that I had tied a purple, red, and black scarf around my neck to see what it felt like to not live anymore, or that I had gone a step forward and tied that same colorful scarf to the door. I'm not sure what she'd think if I ever told her my body dropped to the ground in surrender or relief. I'm still not sure. What I was sure of, however, was just how hard my mom worked to ensure I had a certain lifestyle. She was my best friend. She is my best friend. She was a boss, having owned a daycare and learning center in Atlanta, Georgia, educating hundreds of children. Let's stop there. So this is Porsha saying she thought about committing, and we can't use the word. She thought about taking her own life. And that she's establishing that she does not tell her mom everything that goes on in her life. What do y'all think?
I wonder if she's saying that her mother wasn't emotionally available for her, that she was there to make sure her life was financially stable, but the emotional stability she didn't, for some reason, feel comfortable sharing or opening up to her mother or her family about certain things, which is common in kids, especially 12, 13 teenagers and things like that. It's very common. Um, but I wonder if her mother recognized that, because for her to actually not just think about it, but to have a plan and try to carry out the plan, that's serious. So, and she specifically said that her mom made sure she was financially stable, but she hasn't said anything about her mother being emotionally available.
Right. That was one thing. That was one of my takeaways. You have such a big moment in talking about wanting to take your life. And then in the
Hmm.
next step, again, you're establishing that your mom was well off and that you were well off as a child.
Right. I wonder, but do you think it's possible, since you've read the first two chapters, I've not read the book, but that she is emphasizing the fact that her mom made sure she was financially stable as a way to try to make up for her not being emotionally available or not giving her that emotional security?
How much more do you have to give? Your husband kicked you out and your mama gave you the master bedroom.
Thought we were talking about her as a kid.
Yeah, we are. I'm just
Oh,
playing.
okay. Okay.
Comment.
She went from being homeless to mama's basket. Mom gave up her master bedroom.
Hey, 2%.
So, guys, the chat's moving a little faster than normal, so I'm not able to highlight every comment and read and moderate. So I'm sorry, bear with me a little bit, but we're gonna get through this. And if it doesn't take too long, maybe we might take some calls. I don't know. So we move on. Freckles has told me not to use my Porsha voice. Just FYI. My Porsha voice. Even in middle school, I knew that suicide. No.
We're not gonna do that.
Okay, sorry. Even in middle school, I knew that word would be so selfish. I couldn't dare leave my mom when I loved her so much. I wouldn't want her to deal with that. She offered me a lifeline. You and your brother are going to talk to a friend of mine, and I want you to just kind of tell them how you feel. My mom said casually one day while she was picking me up from school. How I feel about what? Well, I can tell you more when we get there, she hinted. Hosea is going too, but I think it's important for you two to have someone to talk to, another friend. But even this professionally trained stranger, perched in an office building that sat around the corner from a movie theater we always used to go to, couldn't heal my broken heart. I visited this therapist twice before I decided that, if anything, the entire exercise of sitting down and trying to explain what I was going to go through was stupid and a waste of time. If I couldn't understand what I was going through, how could I conceptualize it for someone else to analyze? I didn't know she knew that word, conceptualize. I just didn't want to be asked all those piercing questions. I didn't have the answers. I couldn't pinpoint what issue could have been that bad for a 12-year-old. Just 2 weeks after my ex. Oh, sorry. You had something?
No, I guess I make noises when I listen. I'm listening.
Oh, she kind of jumps. So in this first chapter, she kind of jumps. So now she's moving on to her adult life. She says, just 2 weeks after my ex-husband, former NFL player Cordell Stewart, completely blindsided me by filing for divorce after only 2 years of marriage. Don't worry, there's more on that later. I had to put on a brave face and fly to New York. Bravo, the network that airs The Real Housewives of Atlanta, where I had just finished my first season, was holding its annual upfronts. For those of you who don't know, television networks have what's called upfronts. They're these big, elaborate celebrity-filled parties held every year where the networks present their latest slate of programming or shows to lure advertisers into investing. Bravo had invited me, the housewife who had no house and was no longer a wife, to represent their highest-rated franchise. I didn't even think producers would want me back on the show as a newly single woman. So on one hand, I was relieved when I got the call that I'd be joining my castmates Nene Leakes and Cynthia Bailey in New York to walk the party's bright blue carpet. But on the other hand, it'd be the first time I'd be seen in public after the world learned I was getting divorced. It became so hard to give evasive answers to journalists on the red, blue carpet while trying to hold back tears that eventually the tears won and my willpower gave up. Now, this is where I think this book kind of reads differently than a self-help book. It's like she's speaking to the audience but she's. I don't know. Is that weird to you guys? It became so hard to give evasive answers to journalists on the red, well, blue carpet. Like that. It feels like some of this is the ghostwriter and some of this is in Portia's.
Yeah, a mixture. The writing style is different. It kind of changes up.
Gabor is not happy.
No, I'm here.
What are you thinking, Gabor? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I just don't. I don't really have it there. I'm not really here for Portia like that. So I don't. I don't really buy anything that she says.
She lies a lot.
She
I
lies a
haven't thought of.
lot, and she tell big lies.
Mm.
Okay, so I ran to the bathroom inside the venue to let them fall freely. My younger sister Lauren there rubbing my back. It wasn't until I had suffered through the party and took off my strapless Kelly green dress to hop on a Delta flight back home to Atlanta that everything hit me at once. What are you going to do? Lauren asked me from her aisle seat in first class. Now, she's already told us that she made Lauren fly coach, even though she would fly in first class. But now in this book, all of a sudden, Lauren's in first class.
Why did she even have to mention that? That's interesting.
Exactly.
Good. That's Gabor's favorite scene because that's around the time that Lauren was pregnant. And she told Lauren, I don't care what's going on in your stomach.
Oh, I remember that. I was watching then, and her and her sister got in a big fight about that, didn't they? Yeah, I remember that.
So it says, I don't know. I said, staring out the tiny rounded plane window. I have no idea. I'm just so sad. Am I supposed to feel this sad? I just wish I could fix it, I said when she asked what I meant by that. I thought I had figured it out. I had a husband, a stepson, and I thought I was going to have more kids. When you get married, I continued, you're off the streets. Was she? Sorry.
Well, that's not true because they said that Cordell used to lock her out the house because she used to come home late at night.
Oh, wow.
She was coming home real late and he had to lock her out.
He had
This is Gabor. This is Gabor as I read this book.
I won't sit here and listen to your lies.
Okay. Actually, we could probably leave that up for a minute while I read. So, when you get married, I continue, you're off the streets. You think this is it, but it wasn't. Clearly, I just can't believe this is happening. I set up my life to be Cordell's wife, to be a mom. I didn't set my life to do anything after because there was no after. That was it. So that pretty much ends the first chapter. Do you have any thoughts?
I think it's so sad that she set her life up to be somebody's wife, not to have a career or to have aspirations, goals. But I wish she talked more about her childhood because why is your life goal to be somebody's wife?
Well, I think that's how her mama raised her.
Oh,
You know,
to
she come
find a
from
good husband?
she come from a family of pretty women that seemed like they was about the bag. And
Oh.
so I'm thinking that her mom probably, pushed her like, okay, you cute, you know what I'm saying? You need
Mhm.
to go find you somebody with some money that's gonna take care of you.
Okay.
Even though it didn't work for her mama. But
And now that her show is out, I don't think Gabor is watching it. I know Freckles is not. It does feel like none of the elders in that household actually speak up like elders normally do. Like if you see something, you say something. But
Mhm.
it feels like with Portia's family, they won't say anything if the man has money.
Okay, so
So,
wait. Go ahead.
mhm. So we have multiple NFL players. We have Cordell, we have Simon, and we have Dennis. All have money, all had red flags, and not any of the women really stood up.
So it's a cycle with the women in her family. That's just how they. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you learn that, if that's all your that's what your grandma did, that's what your grandma's okay, your aunts, your mom, then you think it's okay, and you don't understand that that's not the right direction to be trying to go in. If there's nobody there to teach you any different.
Gabor Trey says she can hear you rolling. She can hear you rolling your eyes. Miss Bernice said, "Chapter 1 is that short? I can't." Checking off everyone. Have a blessed day. Okay. So yeah, I got a little bit out of that. I do feel bad for her with I do feel like she was bullied. I do feel bad for her that at a certain point as a child, she felt like, taking her own was actually a thought. You don't ever want to hear that about anybody.
And she had a plan. That's like, it's in stages. Having thoughts is one thing, but when you have a plan, a plan to carry it out. And when she talked about the scarf, and that's scary. But it doesn't sound like she really tells us outside of the bullying why she got to that point. Mm-mm.
That was one thing though. And all jokes aside, when you go to the Christian Living
Mm-hmm.
and self-help section of a bookstore, you want aspirational messages, you want
Uplifting. Mm-hmm.
uplifting, you want somebody who is going to tell you how they made mistakes and how they came back from it. And so
Mm-hmm.
far in what I've read, I don't see where she wants to go all the way in. She allows herself to be seen as the victim, but she doesn't tell people. It's short-sighted. She doesn't tell you to stop. Don't do what I did. Because everything that she
Mm-hmm.
does talk about is how successful she is. I own 2
Right.
businesses. I had this, I had that. And it's like at no point, at least with Corinne Steffens, we knew what we were
Mm-hmm.
getting.
Right.
She slept with people to get money, and that was it. With Porsha, she doesn't go the step further to say, you know what, I did some messed up things. It was all that I could do. And this is not who I am, and don't follow my footsteps. To me, some of this reads like, well, I did this and I came out okay.
Well, I don't think we can say
Oh,
that yet because it's still only the first chapter.
Oh, no, I read a little bit on.
Um,
And I also watched Tisa Tales, who stays on Portia's neck every day.
oh, she read the book.
She read the book as well out loud, but she did a Porsha voice.
Oh Lord.
Okay, chapter 2. I remember seeing Jesse Jackson kiss my sister's forehead, but Lauren didn't seem comforted. Instead, she looked super annoyed. She was only 10 years old at the time, but I could tell she didn't want to stand up and shake hands any longer. She felt like I did. She wanted to get out of the church and mourn her father in peace, whatever mourning looked like at that age. I was 16 when my father died from a rare blood disease called, I think it was nocturnal hemoglobin. We're going to say nocturnal hemoglobin. That's not right, but that's
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to go with. To make a very complicated disease sound really simple, it's when the red blood cells don't act right. Now, that's in Portia's words.
Mm.
My dad was only 43 when he succumbed to the disease after an unsuccessful bone marrow transplant, but he
Oh
had
wow.
clearly already made a huge impact on the world. Just 4 days after his spirit left this world and my father officially became an ancestor, anybody who was connected to anybody who was connected to him seemed to gather inside Israel Baptist Church, which is located on a road in East Atlanta that's now called Hosea L. Williams Drive, named after my own father. Jesse, Dick Gregory, Mayor Bill Campbell, and every other important person in Atlanta was inside that brick church. Although it was September, it was a rather cold day for Atlanta, and before the service, I couldn't make myself move fast enough. Grief was weighing me down. Grief was weighing me down bad, making my feet feel as if they were in quicksand. But instead of being worried that I'd be late to my own father's funeral, I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. I had disconnected from the moment, surely to protect my heart. But I still managed to put on a silk black dress with a matching scarf that I kept tied around my neck that day to say my final goodbye to my father. While the rest of my family, My father's 6 brothers and sisters, along with their children, had gathered at my grandmother Juanita's house to ride in 8 or so black limousines. Like, it's a little weird that we got to know about what you wore, the designer, you were in
Right.
limos
That's what I was thinking.
to take them to
Even
see.
bragging about the attendees. That's interesting, you know.
You're
I
name
would think
dropping like crazy.
right, I would think she'd be sharing more about her internal feelings with having lost her father.
It goes on. To ride in 8 or so black limousines to take them to see my father for one last time. I strolled into the church late. I walked past the throngs of people standing, sitting, and trying to cram comfortably in the sanctuary right to the front and sat down next to my mother. And although I saw many faces I recognized from school, from my mother's daycare, my dad's friend, and my grandfather's inner circle, there are many other faces I couldn't place. Hey, can y'all close that now? It was Lauren's mother, Lisa, asking one of the church trustees to finally close my dad's casket after it had been open for more than half the service. Even though I spent much of the funeral staring at the back of her head, I could tell Lauren was visibly upset about it. She even fell asleep for a little bit, probably not wanting to see her father that way anymore.
So Porsha was sitting on the second row.
Oh, she wasn't in the front row. Come on. Oh my goodness. You know, at my grandmother's funeral, like the relatives fought to be in the front row.
I don't think Porsha had a choice.
Mm.
They sat Lauren and her mother in the front and Porsha in the back. I would think that the kids and maybe the mom and dad, if they were still alive, would have been up there.
Exactly.
But Porsha let us know she went to the front, but then she also let us know that she didn't make it to the front. She just made it to the front few rows, but okay. My dad liked to say he was the average height of a black man, which really meant he stood 5'9". My dad was like me in many ways. He was attractive, flashy, the type of guy who walked in a room and made you wonder, who is that? That's how Porsha sees herself.
She said, like me. That's interesting. She's self-confident.
I've seen her daddy before, and I've seen her brother before.
Are they attractive?
I never thought to myself, who is that?
Oh. I didn't have that thought at all.
Yeah, that never crossed my mind.
Okay, let me compose myself. Okay. I suppose he couldn't help it being raised by his father, the elder Hosea, who was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s chief field lieutenant. My grandfather worked alongside Dr. King.
Nothing, just the name dropping again. Is this about you or who your father knew?
It's a running theme in the book. My grandfather worked alongside Dr. King in their organization, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and later founded his own long-standing outreach, Hosea Feed the Hungry and Homeless. His wife, my grandmother Juanita, was equally impressive, graduating 3rd in her class from Savannah State College, eventually becoming a Georgia legislator and one of the first black women to run for public office in the state. Now, this pissed me off. We have consistently heard about Porsha's dad. Not in the book. If you guys who are in the chat, I'm sure you guys watch the show. We consistently have heard throughout the years about her very famous grandpa and a little bit about her dad. When I read that her grandmother became the first black legislator in the state, that is impressive. Why have we never heard about this before?
Heard about it. The emphasis on men, right? Of the men. It kind of shows too, possibly, that she views women as a lesser people, since she's bragged so much and name dropped all the accomplishments of the males in her family. But is this the first you've heard about the aunt?
The grandma.
Grandma, is that the first you heard about when you read the book? Oh, wow, that's interesting.
Gabor, had you heard about the grandma before?
Never.
Like they don't.
But I did know that her grandfather was. You know, I don't know if y'all seen the famous picture of the moments before Martin Luther King got shot. Portia's grandfather was one of
Selma?
them. No, before he got shot, the picture of Martin Luther King before he got shot, and everybody's pointing while he's laying on the ground.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jose, Portia's grandfather was one of those men. He was there when Martin Luther
Oh.
King got shot.
Wow.
Mm.
No, I had never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to not have heard about her grandmother, I mean, because it's harder for Black women to accomplish things than, you know, that's interesting.
Okay, moving on. But yeah, I thought that was really crazy that is a big deal to be the
That's
first Black
huge.
female legislator. That is a big deal. And also, your grandmother is the first Black legislator, and you still didn't know about the Underground Railroad?
Oh, she knew about it. She just didn't know where it started at.
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure? Are we sure? Okay.
She was trying to help her. I remember that episode. She was trying to help her.
She goes on to say, Dad was a boss. He was a successful entrepreneur who owned a janitorial chemical company that sold cleaning supplies to major retailers like Home Depot. He got the idea from his father, who was a chemist. Before my grandfather became an iconic civil rights leader, he had earned his bachelor and master's degrees in chemistry from Morris Brown College and what's now known as Clark Atlanta. Even in this chapter, her grandmother is relegated to 2 sentences, and we are
Right.
consistently
Take this
hearing-
down.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't looking up. My bad. What were you saying, Freckles?
Just the comment that you said that her grandmother was relegated to just 2 sentences. That's just interesting. The value that it seems that she places so much less value on the accomplishments of women than the men around her, which could have something to do with how she views herself.
I think so. And to Gwen, could be. Okay. Blah blah blah. Chemical company. Let's see. I don't remember my parents being in love, but I know that they were. I know that my brother was made in love. I know that I was made in love. After they met at the University of Georgia, my mom was an undergrad while my dad was enrolled in their law school. They gravitated toward each other quickly and refused to let each other out of their orbit. I described their falling in love like a celestial gravitational pull. Again, words I didn't know she knew. Because if you knew my dad and got to know my mom, then you would understand the type of aura that I'm talking about. They both had that type of spirit where people were attracted to them. They both had it. Hell, my mom still has it. They were both attractive and charismatic and vivacious and outspoken. I guess we call that swag now. By the time I had formed memories about what my early childhood was like, my mother had quit her job at my father's chemical company and thrown herself into being a housewife. A caretaker, a homemaker, a mother, and a wife were the titles she was proud to hold, and my mother showed me just how much joy and fulfillment could come from caring for your own family. That's not the way I read this, guys. That was an actual run-on sentence. She taught me that being
That was a long ass sentence.
She taught me that being a housewife was a worthy profession and that it took every God-given talent that you had to care for your children and treat your man like the king he wanted and to walk out in the world and become, all while keeping your own peace. Again, that was a whole sentence.
Wow.
My dad, on the other hand, was very fun-loving. I think it meant a lot to him to be the fun dad. He was also a very affectionate parent, so there was never a day when we wouldn't give me or my siblings hugs and kisses on the forehead. Because I didn't live with him, there was this built-in absence and distance between us. So his touch meant a lot. It meant a lot to be wrapped up in his arms. It meant a lot to feel his love. It felt amazing to be the center of his joy while I had it. I cherished every single moment. Any thoughts?
Did she talk about in there how the parents split up? Or, I mean, is it just jumping around a lot?
She does go into it. It's a little bit further in this chapter, but she will.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, actually, it's coming up right now. Did I? I'm gonna go ahead and read this. Okay. For her part, my mom just really wanted the best for my dad's. I'm sorry. He might have even feared. I definitely had to make sure I was doing it right, even while out of her sight, or we both get in trouble. Don't tell your mom we're having pizza for dinner again. Make sure your homework is good because I don't want you going home telling your mom I didn't help you with it. For her part, my mom just really wanted the best for my dad's next relationship so that I could grow up with stability and love and calm and tenderness. My mom always spoke highly about my dad's new wife and told me to be respectful of Lisa and to listen to her. And after being a stepmom, I realized later on in life just how revolutionary it was for her to be so understanding of my dad and his new relationship. Lisa wasn't a stepmom to me. She was more like a second mom. I mean, she basically helped raise me, especially since my father was insistent that we go to their house every weekend. But well into my father's marriage to Lisa, whom I grew to love and admire, he began seeing his girlfriend. Because I was so young, I couldn't even begin to understand that if my father said he loved my mother, if he loved Lauren's mother, why he would need another woman. Although I didn't understand it, it opened my young mind up to the possibility that it was okay that a man having a wife and a girlfriend was what happened in marriages because my father did it. And not only did he do it, he didn't excuse it. It was a matter of fact. And he was still successful. He was still loved and he was still highly regarded. I highlighted this whole section because this explains so much about what
Wow.
Porsha values, what she accepts,
Mm-hmm.
and where she got it from.
Absolutely. That's really scary. I don't. It definitely it really gives makes sense to me why she accepted so much from Cordell because she thought that was the norm. That's what her mother. Now, her mother, her mother's thoughts about her father's new wife, that could be just good co-parenting, or is it you're putting such an emphasis on the man's needs even after he's no longer your husband? I don't know. Could be either. I mean, maybe it's just good co-parenting, but for Portia had to have talked to her mom about her dad having a girlfriend while he's married.
Oh,
And
that was to Lauren's mom, but we're going to get to that as well.
okay.
Gabor, any thoughts?
Uh-uh.
Karen Fraser said, the lies, the lies. She thinks that her fans are as dense as her. And I thought that was funny because she really does.
Lie?
No, feel that way. Let me tell you why. That's so funny that she said that. Oh wait, hold on. No, this one.
Oh wow. Every idiot has someone who thinks that they're smart.
Straight out of her mouth.
Oh wow.
Okay. So it didn't help that I saw my father's cheating with my own two bright eyes. He dragged me on dates with his girlfriend around Atlanta, not hiding his indiscretions to his eldest daughter.
Oh my
Unknowingly,
goodness.
he created a confusing path forward for every single romantic relationship I'd have, where lies, where lies and secrets and cheating felt so common they were
Mm-hmm.
inconsequential.
Yep.
I had to keep my father's secrets. It was a burden I didn't want and definitely didn't deserve. By watching his moves and listening to the words my father didn't say, I learned what it meant to lie to the ones that you love at a young age.
Mhm.
And I learned the consequences when I dared to tell the truth.
That explains a lot, right? That explains a lot. She learned it from her father. She idolized him so much, and her mother was so concerned about his well being and happiness. And so the lies, if you idolize somebody that much and they lie, you know? Oh, wow.
Gabor, are you okay?
I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if she has any idea how much damage her father did to her.
I think that she actually went to counseling. I haven't gotten to that part in the book. I know her
Mm.
mom put her in counseling, but she lied to the therapist.
See?
That was in the first chapter. She didn't feel like the therapist could help her. Okay. Moving on. Um, I remember there was one time I was with my father when he went to his girlfriend's apartment. I was around 10 years old and didn't realize the rules of running around. I didn't know that you could see things that weren't supposed to be repeated. I mean, I was raised in a household where we told one another everything, or at least I thought we did. Now that's important because in the first chapter, she said that she does not, she hid things from her mom forever because she didn't want to disappoint her mom. But now she's saying in the household, they told each other everything. So which is it? It's very confusing.
They
It's just,
probably lied a lot. Everybody probably lied a lot. And she's uh I bet you everybody lied about a lot and just told what they thought the other person wanted to hear to keep family peace. And she considered that at the time of being young. So the line is generational. Yep, it is. The line is generational. She learned that from her daddy and she still idolizes him. I mean, I understand because he's done good things, but you have to recognize a person's faults as well.
Gabor has been really good. The people are saying they need you to a good read, Gabor. I think Gabor is taking it all in. We're about to be pretty
I'm
much
trying.
done. We're about to be pretty much done, and then we can kind of discuss so far where we're at and what our thoughts are. Let me take this off. Generational liars. That's funny. That's a good read. You need to use that just simply. Being slow to dad's new rules. I had told Lisa, oh, sorry. Let me read this one part. I didn't know that you could see things that weren't supposed to be repeated. I mean, I was raised in a household where we told one another everything, or at least I thought we did. Being slow to dad's new rules, I had told Lisa what I had seen, which apparently I wasn't supposed to do. So on his next date with his girlfriend, instead of inviting me inside, my father made me wait in the car for hours, watching the
Oh,
sun
damn.
burn its way across the sky at a snail's pace, my eyes following the sun below the horizon, hoping he'd come by the car to check on me or offer me a reprieve inside. But no, he sat inside with her. My little brother would periodically peek his head out of the apartment to check on me and make sure I was okay. My four-door purgatory was apparently my punishment for opening my mouth. It was my sentence for telling the truth. It wasn't the only time that dad locked me away, which is a trigger I still carry with me to this day. My father would lock me and my brothers in bathrooms, in bedrooms, in the laundry room, in the basement
Oh
when we
my
were acting
God.
out or making too much noise as a child. The doors were never actually locked, but we understood our punishment was that we could not leave. One by one, we were placed in separate rooms. I don't think my dad meant any harm by it. It was just his way of putting us in timeout. To him, it was better
Wow.
than spanking us. But being a naive dad or an inexperienced dad, he would oftentimes forget about us.
Oh my God.
We would be in those rooms all day and sometimes until nighttime.
That's
No,
literally child abuse. And she's making excuses for him. Again, making excuses for the negative things that the men in her life do.
yeah, she gave him
Mm.
a lot of outs. Now, if you're just being in timeout, that's one thing. But to be locked in a hot car,
Well, even to be locked in a laundry room or a bathroom and to the point where he could forget about you, that you're in there for hours. Timeouts are supposed to be like five, what is it like after once they hit five, then like 5 minutes, and then for every year after that you can add 5 minutes or something like that. But
Really?
to be somewhere for, yeah, beyond that, it's abusive to be, it's not, timeouts aren't if it's, they're not supposed to be for long periods, like an hour or two. It's like, 5 minutes if they're 5 years old, six, if they're 6, 7, you might go up to 10 minutes, but they're not learning anything after a certain point as far as, the punishment goes.
I wonder what kind of kids them was, because we would have been all up out of there. We would have been all out that corner.
Right. But I wonder what kind of fear they had. He must have had some fear in him because if you, yeah, most little kids, they're going to sneak out, right? They're going to try to
Hmm.
communicate with each other or something like that. You could be locked up for hours and the door isn't locked. What kind of fear did he have in them?
I wonder, was he already sick?
I
Did he
wonder
have?
if this was after the second Lauren's mom left him because
Hmm.
somebody else pointed this out. It was in my notes as well. Where
Hmm.
was the stepmother? Was this
Right.
just him alone? Like
Or if it was a, yeah, where was she? Maybe she actually worked. Hmm.
Kathy
Mm.
said it. Yeah. Okay, but to Freckles' point, Some days we create fun within the confines of our own imaginations while inside those four walls. Sometimes we'd even get to pick which room we wanted to go in, depending on the degree to which
What?
we had annoyed him.
So
But
why is the let me shut
hmm,
up. I'm getting
what?
irritated. How old was did she say how old she is at this point?
Uh, sh- Not specifically. We did know that when she got locked in the car, she had told on him having a girlfriend to his
Mm.
new wife, and she was locked in the car at age 10.
Oh,
And Atlanta is hot.
right. And she didn't get out of the car. That's so I'm like, what kind of fear did he have and that she would stay in the car or that any of the kids, if they're around her age, 10, if her brother was 2 years older, that they would that's interesting.
Southern Charm, this is a good point. We don't know if it's alcohol abuse, but just based on what I've read so far with Portia, she wouldn't say anything disparaging like that.
About her
I don't think
father.
she would give it to us. Somebody said I paid $1 too many for this book. Okay. But other days we longed to get out. It felt as if we made one mistake, we'd be sent away. What my dad likely thought was a convenient and less violent punishment ended up having its own repercussions. When my mom would
Absolutely.
ask how our weekend at dad's was, we hid it. We lied about it. We dressed up our
See?
pain and then we detached from it.
Mm-hmm.
This form of punishment birthed my need to be absolutely perfect. I became terrified of making any sort of mistake or not living up to the expectations men had for me because I learned that if I did make a mistake, I could be left alone or locked up.
Mm.
I didn't realize it then, but that punishment, which did seem like a normal punishment to me, contributed to the trauma and abandonment issues I'm still dealing with
Mm-hmm.
decades later. I really didn't want to, but it was better than staying one more second in my room. Okay. One time I lost that game. She's saying that she used to play with her brother, like through the walls,
Okay.
and they had some kind of game where she lost. She said, one time I lost that game. I hesitantly opened my door. We knew not to open it until he had said so and had to go knock on daddy's door. I really didn't want to, but it was better than staying one more second in a room by myself. I lightly knocked on the door. His voice boomed on the other side. Come in. Daddy, can we come out now? I said, scared of his reply. Oh, of course, he said, completely softened and back to the loving, gracious, forgiving daddy I knew. Baby,
Oh
come on in
wow.
here. I forgot y'all were in there, honestly. Go get your brothers. Tell them to come in here. I didn't understand, but I soon realized that if I wanted to be around him, I had to behave and keep my mouth shut. Because he was so strict and protective over me, he didn't teach me anything about love and dating and men. He refused. Instead, he said what most fathers tell their teenage daughters: boys do not need to be on your mind right now. They don't want nothing but one thing. So keep away. You can't talk on the phone with boys, and best you believe I'll kill any boy that comes in the house asking about you. Date when you're 30 something. When my
Mm.
father got sick, things changed. He was raised in a blended family, and he felt it was really important that us kids stayed close no matter what. So my brother and I would spend every other weekend over at my dad's house in Stone Mountain, which was about 30 minutes away from my mom's house at the time. We'd run around with Lauren and my younger brother Brenton, who had a different mother. After he died, though, we stopped going over there. We never really got together anymore. Oh, I skipped some of this. I knew my dad's death would have an effect on me, but I didn't realize how much it would impact me and for how long. I didn't realize that even at 39 years old, I'd still be dealing with loving someone I've lost. I didn't expect that feeling of loss to show up again and again in relationships where it had no business popping in, where it didn't belong. With grief hanging on me like a stank I couldn't wash off, it seemed like a dog whistle, leading me to toxic relationships that would steal my joy. I'd never have that protection because he was gone. As a young girl who is now alone in the world, I felt insecure. I'd had a dad that loved and I revered, who protected me and wanted me to know right from wrong, and then all of a sudden I didn't. I am genuinely proud to be his girl, his daughter, a Williams. I'm proud to carry his legacy in my heart and in my stride. While I came to terms with loving without my dad, I was also thanking God that I had a praying mother who not only taught me how to go to Jesus when I needed help, but also taught me how to be a boss. Those are the first two chapters.
So you're proud to be a Williams, but you think it's cute when people call you Portia Luther King.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on that. That's true.
Mm, okay.
So, I think because I think we could probably open the phones and get some other people's interpretation. What do y'all think?
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's not a phone. How old am I? Uh, open up the lines. Gabor, you down?
Yeah.
Good morning.
I think Trey was right. Gabor has been rolling his eyes, and we could hear it.
No, I have not. Trey lying.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and we're not gonna. This isn't gonna be a super long show, but if anybody got anything out of this and want to talk about it, I went ahead and I dropped the link in the chat. I do feel some of the stuff that she said definitely made me feel bad for her. Some of it made me feel like, why is she still protecting this man who he was a womanizer? I think that's child abuse to leave a kid in a locked car in the heat of Atlanta because they inadvertently told that you had a girlfriend. Why are you bringing your children around your mistresses?
You can get arrested for that these days, leaving a kid in a car for any amount of time.
You can.
But she obviously has the attachment issues because of her dad. And it doesn't sound like it kind of sounds like on a surface level she gets it, but deep down she doesn't understand the damage he's done to her.
Hey, Amused. Hey, Cotty.
Hey, Cotty. Hey, Amused.
Hey.
Hold on,
Hi, guys.
Y'all, tell me if this is Gabor as he was listening to this book.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so what were your thoughts?
I want to say, I think that my old elementary school abused me.
They locked you up?
They put, well, I wasn't like locked in a room, but like when you went to detention, you had to go down to like the locker room and face the wall the entire lunch break.
What?
And that had to have been like well over like 30 something freaking minutes or something, just staring at the wall.
What? Our detention was just in a classroom. Where did you go to school?
They used to put rice on the floor, and we used to have to kneel down on the rice.
Nuh-uh.
No.
Yes, they
What
did.
school?
Rice?
Yes, they did at school. Mm-hmm.
I know that was in the South.
Yeah.
We had to kneel down, and we would have two books like this. So you would be kneeling.
I don't know where you guys went to school.
Right, I had to do that when I was pledging, but
I was in Texas.
That was a Catholic middle school that I was in.
Oh,
my
Catholic, yeah.
goodness.
Well, that was quite depressing, and it just proves it just proves that Porsha really needs help. It sounded a bit like she's got Stockholm syndrome when it comes to her dad.
Yeah.
She places a lot of value on him, and it sounds like she tries to justify the things he's done. And I know that she views him as like a hero because of his work he's done with the civil rights movement, but that doesn't excuse you not being a good father or being an abusive father. And there has to be something going on to where you can leave your kids locked up somewhere for hours and forget they're there.
Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
It's like,
Yeah, and also it sounds
that's weird.
like the family it's acceptable to lie, so that's why she lies all the time now.
Yeah.
It was normal in that household from what she's saying, but
And that's how she learned to get by and to be accepted and to not be rejected, is to lie for her father to please him.
Well, it definitely speaks about who she is now, though.
Cotty also purchased the book, y'all. So don't think that I'm the only one.
Now, wait, I got the book for free with my Prime subscription.
Oh, did you read it?
To it.
I got it on Audible.
Okay, so did you listen to it?
So far the first chapter, but even having her read it, it was really like all over the place.
Yeah, that sounds like
and
it's
I
all over the
read like
place.
real books that's pretty cohesive, and it was just like I didn't understand. I just kept saying, "Why are we jumping back and forth?
Yeah.
Let's start like at the childhood years and let's work up. Like this is the way a book should go."
Hey,
It's because she doesn't
2%.
want to tell us. She's keeping so many things
She's
away from the
obviously
book.
keeping
So,
secrets. Mhm.
yeah. So we're not getting the full picture.
Yeah.
2% was
Mims, are
tearing
you
up
going
the
to do the
chat.
whole book? Because this is going to be painful.
Well,
Can you
okay,
do
so
a thing on your community where you do the poll?
well, I bought the book, so I intend to do it. But the thing is, the chapters kind of heat up. So we have like the
Okay.
Cordell chapters, the R. Kelly chapter.
What do you call heat up, though? Because what you might consider heating up.
Well, it gets juicy, right? Like it gets like this was setting the tone for who Portia is and or who Portia wants us to believe. But I think the other chapters are going to be more where it can be like a gag and a read.
Oh, okay.
This was like
Well,
this is why I thought Freckles would be good and Gabor. I knew Gabor would be moaning through this, but Gabor is my YouTube bestie, so he showed up. But he was rolling his eyes.
I was not rolling my eyes tonight. Did you? Wait a minute. Did you see my eyes roll?
Yes,
I didn't know
I
you didn't stop saying that.
I think
We
I
could
heard
hear it.
Gabor snoring.
2%. What did you think? Because you were eating up the chat.
I was telling Amuse that I did actually buy the book, and I literally finished it like on my lunch break. It was kind of like this is it's child's play. No disrespect, but it was very elementary, and I'm trying to figure out still who is she trying to inspire, because there's nothing in here that's guided to better behavior or telling you like I made these are mistakes. Nothing in there says that these are some things I did wrong. And one other thing I really wanted to say is I think that Freckles is an amazing, kind soul. And I don't know, I love my mom and everything, but I may have wanted you as my mother, because I'm pretty sure my mom put me in a room somewhere for some time, and I know our detention was hours long. I mean, hours long. I didn't have the right situation like you did, Gabor, but I mean, I do remember somebody had to hold the books. We had to do that military stance where we had to have our backs to the wall and kneel and all that, whatever it was.
Damn.
The thing where you had to get your, I mean, it worked for your thigh muscles, I ain't gonna lie, but yeah, but I mean, no. I just think that if she's lied about and or exaggerated about other things, I think this is a way of trying to victimize herself, because truthfully, I can't really see much. I don't want to say abuse. I can't really. I wouldn't consider any of what she's went through as abuse. It's life. Life is not easy. Everything you don't get your way, and when you misbehave, you have to have some sort of course correction. You can't just sit like, what was she's saying he didn't beat her, and then when she did come out and say, hey, did you forget about us? He didn't say no, go back in there. He let her out. He was like, oh shoot, tell your brother to come out too.
Okay.
I don't know.
What do you think of emotional abuse, or do you think all abuse is physical?
Oh no,
or
I know
neglect?
about emotional. No, I definitely, I do think there is emotional abuse. I think leaving her in the car was not right. I think that was not the best parenting. So I do agree with you on that. And I just think that parents, they learn as they go. You have to have, I'm not a mother myself, so I'm not gonna, speak on something that's out of my scope, but I think that parents need some time to grow and learn from their mistakes as well. So I'm sure that maybe on his deathbed, he was like, maybe I punished you too harshly, but it's not like he was, he was putting like, she needs to go on Dr. Phil and, rock in a corner about it. I just, I do think that there may have been some mistakes here and there, but I don't, and that could be what set her up with the whole R. Kelly, all that stuff that's getting ready to come up. But I don't know.
It was different times as well. I mean, like 30 years ago or so, that was acceptable.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they wouldn't allow you to punish your kids like that, or people would intervene.
I mean, I'll be honest, we got whoopings. So, you know, and nowadays that would be considered all kinds of abuse, and my good-hearted mother would be taken away because that's what the age and time we're at now. But I can almost guarantee you some of the stuff that I did then, I'm definitely not going to do now, you know. There has to be some way of, you have to have some grace for some parents, is my perspective on that.
They also parents also have to be held accountable too.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's of course a growing type pain for that, but like some of these things, like you just taking your child, hey, daughter, come to me, be with me while I go smash the next chick. Like, come on.
Right. And if you think about the thing that it sounds like people who are, you know, very familiar with Porsha, is that she lies a lot. She learned that from her father. We can't excuse that. In my opinion, he was being a bad father. He was being emotionally abusive. And just because it happens doesn't make it okay. Yes, we all go through stuff, but that doesn't mean that a parent should be excused for the traumas they cause their children. That's how I view it, because now she grew up to be where everybody looks at her as a liar. But she thought that was okay. That's what she was taught to do to survive. And to please the adults around her, especially the males around her. I don't think that's okay. Not that anybody's parenting skills are perfect at all, but he helped mold her into the liar that everybody's saying she is today.
Super agree on that.
And the simple fact that he actually forgot that his children existed in those rooms is neglect. How the heck you just yourself?
Y'all making me think I gotta go to therapy.
You may.
I mean, therapy's great.
Therapy's good for everybody now.
Yeah, no,
let's not get it twisted.
I did say that earlier in the chat. I do think that therapy is good for anybody at any stage in life and all that.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. I just think that she is a fabricator to the highest degree, and I think what her goal is to always make herself look so right and innocent, and so. You know, just like, I don't know. I'm having a hard time buying it, like, personally, you know. I just don't.
Which part? Like, you're saying you don't believe that which part are you?
From the page 1 to the end of chapter 2, like all of it. I'm having a hard time buying everything she says. Like, you know, I feel like it's all set up and it's all concocted in a certain way to make her look like the doting princess or whatever, or however way it is that Bravo had made her look before she got with Simon, you know. Now this is all about trying to make restoring her image. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
What did her family say about the book? Does anyone know?
They said, "Where's that check?" I'm sorry.
Yeah, it does feel like now that we're seeing her show that their focus is money. Again, I spoke on it earlier. Nobody is telling her any of the warning signs about Simon. Nobody told her the warning signs about Cordell. Nobody warned her about Dennis. Like, as long as there's a check, they seem to be okay.
That's sad.
Freckles, you don't watch this show. This is a little off topic. Porsha is on a retreat with her family, her new fiance, and her baby daddy. I was really personally not okay with the fact that they put her fiance of 2 weeks in a 2-bedroom suite with Porsha and her 2-year-old daughter. I felt like that's too soon to have a man that you've known him for a couple months and you've been engaged for like 2-3 weeks around your 2-year-old daughter. Like, is that too much access, do you think, to give your new fiance?
It's interesting that, you know, she got married or that she got engaged that quickly, but I guess it depends. It's scary to me. I mean, after I got divorced, I didn't date for probably 5 years or something because I just didn't want to have different men around my son. So, but I guess it's an individual thing. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable with it, but it's her fiance.
I just feel like if you're just getting to know him, why is he around your 3-year-old, 2-year-old daughter overnight? Getting, integrating them into each other's life. But I would never have any man in an adjoining room to my daughter.
They're engaged. They don't live together.
Nope.
No, she still has her own
Okay.
house.
And they're okay. You don't think he spends the night or anything like that?
I don't know the ins and outs. I just know on this
Mhm.
trip they put them in a 2-bedroom suite with her daughter, and I just something about it didn't feel right to me.
Yeah, it would make me feel uncomfortable too. But I bet you he spends the night at her house, or vice versa, her and the baby.
He has to spend the night at her house. He done sold his house. He
Oh,
has
did he?
nowhere to go now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I encourage you to watch the show. You'll get a real a real take on how she is. She's really portraying herself to be. I don't know. I just encourage you to watch the show.
Was the hot dog guy there as well?
Yep.
On this
Yeah.
So why didn't the baby stay with the dad?
Because he's bringing some work over, as he calls it. He's bringing some ladies. He's flying another lady over, and he's staying in a room with her sister, which is so strange.
Oh, the baby daddy stayed in a room with Portia's sister?
Yep.
That's strange. Everything is strange about that family,
That
to
is
be fair.
weird. Isn't she married?
No.
Oh, okay. Still.
That's strange. Why would the sister stay with?
Right. It's all weird. But back to the book. So does anybody feel like they have a better idea or a different concept of what they viewed about Porsha? Did it change anybody? Did it move the needle in any direction?
Well, I don't think
Nothing
it
for me.
moved the needle, but it did give me some insight into why. But I don't think it actually changed the needle.
For me, it just showed that she's even more troubled than I thought.
Not Captain Slore. I can't. Gabor, did it move the needle at all? I think I know the answer, but I'm still going to ask you.
No.
What is your take on it, Gabor? What's your take on the read so far?
I don't know. Like, I feel like that she's doing a lot of name calling. It's trying to make it seem like she really come for something. It's a lot of bragging. You know, I don't expect her to throw her dad under the bus, though. You know, I mean, that's the father that she had who she wasn't grown when he passed away, so she couldn't really talk to him about how she was raised or some mistakes that he made. But yeah, I don't really pay attention to Porsha like that.
I felt a little sorry for her.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel sorry for her.
She didn't get what she actually needed from her father, and because of that, I mean, look at her situation now. So it's a little sad for her.
Yeah, relationship after relationship after relationship. You can see how much those childhood traumas affect you and the way you form relationships as an adult.
Yeah,
So-
it definitely explains that.
Gabor, I can't find a link to your channel. I'm going to start putting everybody who's on the channel their links. So I'm going to link that video that you and I did about selling Tampa. I'm going to put it in the chat. Gabor and I are reviewing this new show called Selling Tampa. It's pretty good. It's about Black realtors in Tampa.
Ooh,
I think we're supposed to be doing it tomorrow, right, Gabor?
I don't know. You said whenever you wanted to, but I mean, you don't got to do all that. Just finish the video. Let's just finish this video.
Well, this video is finished. That's why I'm putting everybody's links in the chat.
No.
Don't worry, Mims, I got it for you.
Oh, that works. So for me personally, I do feel like there are some things that I learned about Porsha. My heart goes out to her for some of the stuff she went as a child. I hope that she can reach a point in adulthood where she realizes not only that these things are wrong, but she corrects it in time so that she doesn't pass it on to her kid. That's what I hope.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it'll get
Means
better.
I can see why you found the book in the religious spiritual section. It's because for us to pray for her. Now I understand.
But yeah. So guys, next week we're gonna do chapters 3 and 4. My panel is gonna be revolving. I'm really interested to get into like the Cordell R. Kelly years because in my eyes I think they intertwine. I'm interested to see if she actually lets us know that she was dating both at the same time.
What? Was she really?
I think that time intertwines because she was with Cordell for like 5 years. She got the R. Kelly years was like 25, 26. So I think there was some overlap, but I'm interested. So 2% dropped off. Any last words? Freckles, Gabor, Amuse, Cotty?
No, I don't think I have any.
I'm actually looking forward to what else is to come. I had no idea about her father and the lies, and that's very interesting, especially since everybody on the panel is saying that she just lies all the time. It's very interesting.
All right. Well, Amused, Cotty, definitely thank you guys for joining us. Your input was definitely insightful. Amused, yours funny.
Thanks.
Until next time.
Thank you for having me up.
Oh, no problem. Have a good one. Cotty, let me go ahead and bring you down. Actually, Cotty, can you bring yourself down? I'm not accustomed to that.
All right, I'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye, Cotty.
Gabor and Freckles, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. All right. On 3, if you guys will say goodbye. 1, 2, 3.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night.